Hello, America, and welcome back to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It, the life and times of Jerry Daniels. When you've had your daily dose of today's craziness, dealing with all them Karens out there, ride shotgun with old JD as he goes back and recounts the life and times of growing up in the South during the 60s and 70s. I believe we were called baby boomers. Stories that you will say, yep, I done that, but I ain't gonna tell my kids. And I ain't never told my spouse. But whatever the truth be, it will be this, to hear me tell it. Well, hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It. So I've been told. I don't know, man. Hey, just want to start by saying thank you. I appreciate everybody watching the channel. Got more feedback about me trying to use that little microphone with the Hoodoo Gator that talks to my iPhone, and I still got to figure something out, but that didn't work. So I'm sticking what I know to be working. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, and maybe I'm probably using the damn wrong software. But to record and then record on an iPhone, both audio and video, to do that and then to download it and then try to put it in the software that I make the video, which I use DaVinci Resolve version 20. The frames per second and the recording speed of the audio, somehow or another, it gets all jumbled. And then when I put it in DaVinci Resolve, I'll spend over an hour because my lips are not synced with my video is not synced with the audio. and again, it's got everything to do with the frames per, anyway. And you can go into DaVinci Resolve and change it to 29 point something to 30 frames per, and it was a nightmare, and I ain't doing it again. I'll figure something else out. So, all right. Anyway, yes, I'm late. I did not do a video, or I did not do a podcast, i.e. YouTube video, but I didn't do the episode like I normally would on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Y'all, it's been a hell of a week. They say when it rains, it pours. Brother, it has been pouring, but it ain't been rain because we ain't got no damn rain. So it's been rough. Not rough. It's just, it's been a bitch of a week. How about that? I'll just leave it at that. It's been a bitch of a week. Everybody has theirs, and I ain't going to bathe in my pity woes because it could be a lot worse. A lot worse. Okay, got my notes here. So I'm going to try to be brief. Why? Because I still got more stuff to do. This will be the last time I'll talk about the bees. The bees are gone. The man and I would say his partner, meaning like a business partner, but he's a very nice man. He's a retired pediatrician, lives down in Marietta, Marietta. I'll just say Marietta. East Cobb, I think is what he called it. But he's a retired pediatrician. His name's Chuck, and he's the one that bought them. He bought everything. And him and this lady had some agreement, and they were going to move all the bees to some kind of farm that somebody has, and it's like one of those natural, holistic, not natural, it's just all organic. How about that? And whoever runs this thing, they had an agreement with them, and I don't know the details, but they were going to go set the bees up there and whatnot. And that's what they're going to do. And my hat's off to them because taking care of bees is a job. It's tough. Taking care of bees that is not on your property is doubly tough, and especially in the summer. But in order to take care of the bees properly, you got to go in there. You got to go in there at least once a week. At a bare maximum, don't let it go beyond 10 days. But in order to really be a good beekeeper, you got to be in your hives. You got to know what they're doing. You got to understand the weather, your demographics, what grows in your area, what's blooming, what's not blooming, what's excreting nectar, what's not excreting nectar. You got to know all that stuff. But my point being, I know I have trouble staying on point, but my point being, if you can take care of bees, requires a lot of materials and resources and supplies and tools. And if you don't have all that stuff like me, I had the luxury of having everything in my shed right next to my apiary. But if you're doing it remotely, you got to carry all that stuff. And then I ain't doing that. You got to dry. It's just logistically, it's a challenge. My hat's off to them, but they're gone. And hopefully we saved enough honey that will probably get us through, I don't know, next 3 or 4 or 5 years of honey, and then we'll be back to buying honey. So we'll see. All right, so the bees are gone. And now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that little area where my bees were. I'm going to expand my garden, I guess. And my garden this year is terrible. It's probably the worst year I've ever had with a garden. And the worst tomato season I've ever had personally. Now, when I say that, it's just something I did wrong. But I ain't had no hookworms this year because when I tilled in the very, very early spring, I tilled all my soil, added more fertilizer, added some peat moss to it because mine are raised bed to hold, more moisture. But when I did all that, I got all those grub worms out. I say all. Evidently, I got them all because I ain't got no damn problems. So, but as far as the bountifulness of my tomatoes, this is probably the worst year I got or I've ever had. And my 2 tomato plants that are doing the best are the ones that my damn bank give me. United Community Bank, shout out to David Lopez and Daniel Lopez and his gain at the United Community Bank in Jasper, Georgia. They are absolutely damn awesome. And they every year they have a customer appreciation event, and the weather's not, it's not scoffing hot, so it's in the right time of the year. I think it's like in May, and it's either May or June, I forget. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But they put up the big tents in the parking lot at the bank, and they have all their employees and their families there. It's a big family thing, man. It's all about family. United Community Bank, and they put up big tents, and they got all the grills, and man, you get all the free hot dogs, and potato chips, and water, and soda, and cake. Son, that's a good cake that you can eat. And then when you leave, they give you 2 tomato plants. And I planted them. Of course, I ain't going to let them go to waste. Best tomatoes have come off them plants and anything I did. So, anyway. All right. So, that it is. All right. Chickens. Get to the chickens. The chickens are still doing chicken stuff. I know I talked about my rooster, Jasper, I took him to the train station, and he made a great chicken stew or soup, whatever you want to call it, chicken and rice. But the last 2 chickens I bought them from a dude at a damn farmer's market, and I trusted him. He said, "Yeah, these are pullets, and they was about 4 or 5 weeks old." And I said, "Okay," and they were Easter eggers. Well, now they're roughly somewhere between 15 and 16 weeks old. They ain't pullets; they're damn roosters. I'm going to tell y'all right now, these 2 damn birds, and y'all heard me talk about them earlier in some of the other episodes. I had to separate them. They couldn't get along with nobody, but they stay together, but they can't even get along together. And one was constantly pulling the feathers out of the other one, which I got a white and a black Easter egger, and then I got a black and tan Easter egger. I don't know the difference, but anyway, the white one was a little bit bigger than the other one, and that was the one that was just whooping that other one's ass bad. I mean, real bad, y'all. And I, did all this separation and stuff, trying to get them to get along, and they damn sure didn't get along with the other 4 that I had them in a brooder with. It was brutal. It was brutal in the brooder, let me tell you. And got past all that. They got graduated, and I put them in the damn big coop in the pen with the other girls. Now the big girls pick on them little girls, and these other 2, them Easter eggers, are always they're a damn pain in my ass. Well, and who used to be Ginger and Esther. Ginger and Esther turned out to be not a Ginger and an Esther. Esther started crowing before the other one, and I changed his name to Scooter. And Scooter still, he's the one you saw him in the video, and he flares all his neck feathers, and he's like he's Mr. Badass, but he's smaller than any of them. But he thinks he's 10 foot tall, and he ain't got no ass feathers because the other one is always pulling them out. And now the other one is turned into, the bigger one, the white Easter egger, has turned into such an incredible asshole. And I've hit him. I've knocked the crap out of him a couple times with a damn broom handle. I'm like, man, you got to quit. I mean, he's not attacking me. He's so brutal, just brutal, causing all this undue stress in the damn pen and the flock with the other girls. So anyway, that bigger white one, who I'll continued and until 48 hours ago, I called her Ginger. Well, now I ain't got a name for it other than asshole. And now he started crowing this morning, so he's confirmed. But good news is I got a buddy's coming over today to get them both. What he does with them is up to him. They ain't big enough for me to kill and eat because I ain't putting up with them for 4 or 5 more weeks and fatten them up. I think it's cheaper to just go buy a damn chicken and do that. So I ain't fooling with it. But the original 9 that I had, which I killed Jasper, so I was down to 8 laying hens. 3 of those are black Australorps, 2 are sapphire gems, 2 are golden comets, and 1's a Rhode Island red. They're starting to get their laying cycle going, but they can't get into a routine because A, it's so damn hot, and B, the mother a-holes are causing so much stress, everybody's freaking out. So one of my golden comets, I called her Miss Shirley. She's the one that laid an egg last week, or earlier in the week, I should say. It looked like it was a double yolk. I did a little video, put it on Facebook, but it was a double yolk, and it looked like a huge light brown Tic Tac. Well, she laid an egg yesterday, and that son of a bitch is a mammoth. It's huge. And I put it on Facebook, and you can hear her. You can't see her do it, but you could. I got a camera in there, and I watched her go into the nest and lay that egg, and she's screaming bloody murder. I thought when I come out, I'd spot her right away because she'd be walking bow-legged, y'all. And I'll put that egg where I'm at, other side. I'll put that egg right here, and you can see it. Look at that. That thing is freaking huge, man. That thing is massive. That's a big egg. So I weighed the egg because I went and Googled what's the world record. The world record, 1956, in New Jersey by a leghorn was 454 grams. It was 16 ounces. That's a pound. That's huge. Well, mine, where's my numbers? My egg, I went and weighed it. My egg weighed in at 124 grams, which is 4.4 ounces. That's still a big egg. And I will do a video, and I'll post it on Facebook, but I'll do a video of me cracking it and opening it up. I suspect it's either going to be a triple yolk or it's going to be a egg inside of an egg, which it's rare. It's a phenomenon. I forget what they call it. But I'm going to do that today, and I'll get Laura to film it. So anyway, that's what's going on. And by the end of the day, I'm going to have no roosters, and I'm going to be down to 12 laying hens. And 4 of the hens ain't old enough to lay yet. So hopefully that stress will be gone. And I'm working my butt off. I'm keeping them well fed, but I'm also hydration, man. You got to keep them chickens. A buddy of mine said his daughter lost one because of this heat. I got fans in there. I got water galore. I change their water every day and getting them going on. All right. So I'm already at 12 minutes. That's all I've talked about is bees or the lack thereof and chickens. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a couple of things that are in the news. Just a couple of things. Well, here's the first thing, which I think it's funny as shit, is there's rumors. Rumor has it, to hear me tell it. Rumor has it that let me get back over here to a page. That show of them 5 cackling racists. They're messed up as a football bat. Those 5 women on that show called The View. Whoopi Goldberg and whatever that other girl's name is. What's her name? Joy something, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't know who the other 3. They're absolutely irrelevant to anybody with any common sense. I've never watched the show from start to finish. I only see the crap that spews out of their mouth on news headlines, and people are saying, look what these idiots actually said. You know, I remember when Tim Scott was on there, and Donald Trump's been on there before, but they had Joe Biden on there not too long ago and all that shit. And it's a CBS show. Imagine that. And Colbert, whatever. I've never watched his show. He got X'd. Well, now there's rumor that The View is, they called it what did they say? They're taking a summer break. Let me tell you something. If you've got a show that has sponsors, which they do, and you're taking a summer break, you're dying on the vine. Bad. That show needs to go away anyway. It's poison. It's social poison. And I believe this, and I said this the other day, I believe that whole show, The View, I think it's a prop of a money laundering scheme by the socialists and the communists in this country. And that's what Hollywood actually used to be, but way back when in the 1940s and whatnot. It was just where communism was just trying to get its hold in America. and that's the what do they call it? The acting guilders, whatever they called it. Anyway, so and that Colbert show, they say that was losing $40 million a year. I'd like to know how much the View's using, because I don't believe what I hear. I don't believe there's enough stupid people in America that actually watch this show. It's just a ton of damn sponsors prop it up to keep it on the air, and the money gets laundered through advertising agencies, through somebody else, but they're all socialists, probably George Soros, but they're propping this crap up. So anyway, good news is I honestly believe that somebody's already flushed the toilet on these turds and they're going down. So, all right. So that's enough about the View, and I've given them too much of my damn time. Here's something else I found that was interesting. You know, y'all remember the big fire that was in Hawaii and all that damage and stuff, and then all that crap about the money that was raised, and Oprah was involved, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, was involved, and all this kind of crap. Well, then we had that fire out there in Los Angeles, and it wiped out whatever the name of that damn ritzy neighborhood is. And all these people, there's a lot of people, they lost their homes. A lot of them didn't have insurance because the insurance company go like, I ain't damn covering it. It was a bad situation. It was just a bad situation. But if y'all recall, Newsom, the governor, and then that asswipe mayor, whatever her name is, she was on a trip, and there was no leadership at all involved. Nobody had meetings. Nobody had they had the information, but they didn't act on anything because they're poor leaders. They're very ineffective leaders. And she takes off and goes somewhere, and nobody's smart enough to go, man, this is that time of the year, and we got all these predictions. We need to get the water in the right place, and we need to be ready, have all the fire and rescue, and we got to be Johnny on the spot. Nobody stepped up to the plate and said, I'll lead. And and I'll tell you right now, because I know this for a fact, if you're going to be a leader, you're going to be unpopular. Anybody who says, I want to be a leader, you ain't going to be popular. That's the difference between a politician and a leader. If you want to be a politician, you got to be popular. You got to be popular to be a politician. To be a leader, you ain't popular. That's the reason Trump's not popular with a number of people, because he's a leader. He's a leader. All right. But anyway, so all these damn actors, and they all got together. They had like a big event, a concert, and all this shit, and it was called the Fire Aid Concert. Oh, we're gonna get in touch with your feelings, and we're gonna start all these fundraising events. And they did. They had all these fundraising events, and it was called the Fire Aid. And the mayor and the governor got on TV, and I'm not quoting them. I'm not, but they were basically I'm paraphrasing, but they're basically assuring everybody things are going to get back normal. We're going to forego all these restrictions and regulations we have in California, and we're going to get stuff back on track, and people are going to get their houses built back. And man, we're going to fast track it. That was all 100%. And I'm sorry, it's my podcast. It was all 100% bullshit. Every bit of it was bullshit lies. Every bit of it. Every damn bit of it. Bullshit lies. So they promised everything, and all you got to do is just do minimum research, and you'll find out that all these people, they can't get jack started. Because again, all those people lied. Those politicians, not leaders, all those politicians lied to them about how fast we're going to, we'll get the things out of the way, all the bureaucracy and all the California regulations and restrictions and all that stuff. And yeah, we're going to take care of all that. And then, some of these are famous people, and some of them are athletes. I think one of them's an NFL guy. He was even, telling people, send money, send money, send money. So this fire aid raised in excess of $100 million. What you think about that for a minute? $100 million. Now, granted, some of these properties are like, $5, $6, $7 million properties, because they're in California. And now, imagine this: folks don't know where the money went. Well, actually, they do, because it was on Fox News too. But I watched a guy, I forget the guy's name, but he did a whole entire report on this. So that $100 million goes to a 501c3 organization who cannot legally disperse that money to people. But what they can do is they can break it down and send it to other nonprofit organizations who have that written in their charter, who can do that. That money, that $100 million, let me go over here. That $100 million, where's it at? Where's it at? Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I done got rid of it. That $100 million, y'all, just went, just gone. Gone. Yep. It just went, I'll say it again. So, yep. So you think the donors are pissed? Yeah, a little bit. Yep. Trying to find the article here. Maybe they'll list some of the people as to where the hell this money went. But trying to find it, and it's way down. It's not even. It should be top news. This should be like right up there at the very damn top, but it's not. And that, I think, you know what they call it, a back news story. But it's not at the top. Where is it at here? Y'all forgive me. What it was, I clicked off the page, and now I got to go back and try to find it. Still not there. Man caught, South Kid. How about that man or woman got caught? Whatever that event was, Coldplay. I mean, it is what it is. That's all I can say. It is not even on. They've moved it. They've damn taken it off. You'd figure that would be more important, I guess is the word to say. That would be yeah. It's not even there anymore. How about that? Which gives me, I would say, I'd be even more pissed. Yeah. Oh well. Shows what that was. Wasn't even damn important. Huh. All right, but anyway, so here's what it was. So that $100 million got divvied up to over 100 different organizations. And this is not factual. This is just my memory of watching some dude on TV talk about it. And there was organizations like, they weren't even in English language. You know, like $6.5 million was given to something, Latino, something, community up something. And then the money went somewhere else, and the money went somewhere else, and the money went somewhere else. And I kind of want to just Google it and start looking for it. Still can't find it. Oh, well. It just goes to show you, California, the hub of libtards and communists and socialists, they got those people to give all that money. And lo and behold, they all got duped. So, all right. Let me see. Two more things. This is going to be quick. I should do it. If I could get Todd Smith to come up here, I'd get him to join me, and we'll do a podcast together. But Laura and I were watching TV, and we're watching The Five, and that idiot on there, Jessica, whatever her name, was talking. And I had a napkin in my hand, and I balled up the napkin, and I threw it at the TV. And I was like, that's bullshit. And I threw the TV at the napkin. I said, you're an idiot, which he is. But I threw the TV at the TV and said, you're an idiot. And then I busted out laughing. And I started laughing so hard, and Laura goes, what are you laughing at? I said, well, let me tell you something. There was a time, and I think it was like 1978, 1979. There was a time, that was the time, 78, 79. The place was in Butler, Georgia. The place was the City Cafe, owned by Mr. Otis Rowe in Butler, Georgia. His oldest son, Wesley Rowe, worked there. And there was a time where Wesley would go up there at night on a Monday night, and we would watch Monday Night Football live on this tiny little black and white TV with a pair of rabbit ears. We'd watch Monday Night Football live with Howard Cosell. Yep. on a little bitty old TV. And we would set the TV on the dining table there. Most of the lights were off, so as not to give the illusion that the place was open. And Wesley would be up there, and I don't remember who else, but I do remember there were nights where it'd be Wesley, me, and Todd. And we would sit up there, and Wesley would get the napkin dispensers out, and then we would all ball up napkins. And when Howard Cosell would say something stupid, we'd all throw napkins at the TV. See there, if there's any young Americans watching this, y'all are so distracted from crap today. But just imagine the fun we had sitting in a city cafe at night watching Monday Night Football live on a black and white TV with rabbit ears with aluminum foil trying to get a better reception. And we threw napkins at Howard Cosell. So that's what we did. All right. So the last thing on my list, and it's funny how you can chase a rabbit on Facebook or anything on the internet, chase a rabbit and go down the rabbit hole. But I was on Facebook and I was on a marketplace. Was it Marketplace? Yeah, it was a marketplace ad, where people sell stuff. And somebody had something for sale that spiked my interest. I said, oh, I wonder where this is. And it was in Royston, Georgia, Royston, Royston, Georgia. I know a lot about Georgia, but I don't know very much because I'm like, where the hell's that? So I Googled on a map, Royston, Georgia. I Googled it on a map. And while I was looking at the map, and I kind of zoom in, zoom out, was find out where it was, and it's over there north of Athens, Georgia. And I think it's Banks County. Don't quote me on that. It's either Franklin or Banks County. I forget which one. Doesn't matter. And I noticed when I was looking at the map, there was a Ty Cobb museum. I said, really? Why would they? This shows how much I don't know. Why would they have? Our reader knows all about it. I'm sure. Hell, he's probably been there. But there's a Ty Cobb museum in Royston, Georgia. And I thought, well, why? I know the name Ty Cobb. I'm not a baseball fanatic. So I thought, well, that was odd. So I looked and I thought, well, why is that there? Well, lo and behold, Ty Cobb was actually born. He was born in December the 18th, 1886. He died July the 17th, 1961. And he was a native from, excuse me, because I'm going to look over here and read. But he was a native from Narrows, like Barrows, but he was Narrows, 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 Georgia. And interesting life story. I'm going to make a point to go to this museum because I want to go there. He was a center fielder, and he was a manager. He became a baseball manager. And he lived to be 74 years old. He died a year before I was born. And his Major League Baseball debut is with the Major League was with the Detroit Tigers, and his last Major League was with the Phillies, the Philadelphia Athletics. So, and that was in 1928. So his Major League went from 1905 to 1928. So his Major League Baseball statistics, his batting average was phenomenal. Was 366. Had over 4,100. He had 4,189 home runs. I'm sorry, that was hits. He had, boy, you imagine that's a lot of damn home runs, isn't it? But he had 4,189 hits. He had 117 home runs. Runs batted in, RBIs, 1,944. Stole 897 bases. He managed, says his managerial record was, as a manager, was 479 to 444. Winning percentages was 519. Anyway, so here's what's really interesting is I went and, looked at it, and there's a lot of stuff on here about Ty Cobb. And these are some facts it says that baseball fans should know about Ty Cobb. So I'm just going to go down here. And this is really interesting. So it says Cobb's father, it was W.H. Cobb, Ty Cobb. and his father was named W.H. Cobb, and named him after Tyre, Tyre, an ancient city in what is now the modern-day Lebanon. According to the U.S. Social Security Administration accounts, the name Tyrus, he's named after a city of Ty, but the name Tyrus did not appear in the top 1,000 boy or names of boys until 1912. How about that? So the fact that from W.H. Cobb, Tyrus, and people started naming their boys Tyrus after that. So, and that all started around 1912. Like I said, he was born, going back over, he was born in 1886. He died in 1961. But interesting, people started naming their kids Tyrus for Ty Cobb after he became famous. So it says that all started, people started naming their child Tyrus after he was hitting 400. And anyway, this is sad. His mother killed his daddy. How many people knew that? Ty Cobb's mama shot his daddy. On August the 8th, 1905, W.H. Cobb announced to his wife, so Mr. Cobb, Ty Cobb's daddy, W.H. Cobb, this was on August the 8th, 1905, told his mama, Amanda, that he was headed to the family farm and he would not be back that night. Allegedly, Mr. Cobb, Ty Cobb's daddy, suspected his wife of having an affair. And what he did was he announced, I'm going to the family farm. I ain't going to be back. He leaves, but he sneaks back at night. So Mr. Cobb comes back to the house later with a pistol. He come back with a pistol. He's going to take care of some business. He's going to find out who this is. But anyway, only to be shot dead by his damn wife, Amanda, who claimed to have mistaken him as a burglar. Cobb's mother was arrested on the charge of manslaughter and indicted by a grand jury, but she was acquitted in March of 1906. So, almost a year later. It says, in the immediate aftermath of this life-altering tragedy, Cobb once said Ty Cobb said he once worshipped his daddy and calls him the greatest man he ever knew. Cobb's contract was purchased by the Detroit Tigers later on, blah, 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 blah. But imagine that, man. Ty Cobb's mom and daddy, his daddy suspected his mom was having an affair. He says, hey, I'm going to the family farm, blah, blah. I'm just repeating myself. But he comes back with a pistol, going to sneak up and try to catch her, and she shot him. So that didn't work out well. Stuart O'Hearn's probably got something to say about that. What's the moral of the story there, Stuart? Chime in. Let me see. They say that if you believe all the stories that circulated about Cobb, that he was a racist lunatic who sharpened his cleats to intentionally wound opposing players and even killed a man hours before a game. I don't know about that. But they do say that he was definitely aggressive. And they called him the Georgia Peach. I did know that. I did know that Ty Cobb was not called the Georgia Peach. I just had no idea where exactly he was from. But they say that he was definitely an aggressive player, was an abrasive brawler with a quick temper. He was divorced on the grounds of cruel treatment, and he was reviled by other players, even teammates, even once as an alcoholic. I don't know if that's true. The whole thing about the spikes, they said, was exaggerated, and it was actually not even proven. And the whole murder thing was debunked. He never killed nobody before a game. So anyway, they said Cobb had enough good in his heart to fund his Royston, Georgia's hometown first hospital. So he did that. But there was a lot of I can't read them all 15 because I'm not. There was a lot of controversy friction between him and Babe Ruth. So Ty Cobb didn't like Babe Ruth. He didn't like him at all. Said he drank too much and and he didn't like his arrogance and whatnot. He hit 323 consecutive games. How about that, huh? Yep. And he was taller. He was taller than Babe Ruth. There's a picture of him. He won 11 of 12 battling. 12. He won 11 of 12 batting titles in his career. He stole home 54 times. He caused, so supposedly, but as mentioned, it says he was a brawler and all that kind of stuff. It says, and during a game on May the 15th, 1912, the relentless hackling of a fan named Claude Luker prompted Cobb to head into the stands and attacked him. Luker had lost 2 fingers on one hand and 5 on the other in a printing press accident, so the incident is often described as Cobb attacking a man that was handicapped. But evidently he was in the fans running his damn mouth, and Ty Cobb just said, Pew, took off in the stands, went up there and whooped his ass. And he was suspended and whatnot. Anyway. Imagine that, hackling somebody so damn bad. And we think about society going, man, I can't believe people did that shit. Just imagine that. And I think Ty Cobb was one of the first, if not the very first person to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame. But Ty Cobb, the Georgia Peach, got so pissed off at a fan hackling him, he lit off on one up there, and the guy only had so many fingers on one hand, and he beat the shit out of the dude. Ain't that some shit? So, anyway, I'm probably going to try to do another story just on Ty Cobb because I thought it was interesting. But how did I stumble upon it? Looking at something on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, looking at a town, Royston, saw that there was a Ty Cobb museum. I had no idea it was there. And lo and behold, I started, squirreling and chasing the fox and found out all about that. So, all right, already at 30-something minutes. I'm going to definitely keep this under 40 minutes. Hey, thanks again to everybody for watching and listening now that it's on email. But I really appreciate y'all watching. And I do ask that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps me, and I do need help. But that helps me, and I do ask that you give comments, because YouTube, this was kind of like Laura's idea, but YouTube allows me the opportunity to respond to your comments. So, it's a way for you can say, hey, Jerry, I thought it sucked. Jerry, stop doing this, keep doing that, whatever. Feedback's feedback. And constructive means that I'd actually do something about it. So the constructive part's up to me, I guess. And thanks to everybody that is listening, and I really appreciate it. Before I close, Mike Posey is home. I think he left yesterday, but anyway, from the rehab center, and he's home, and God is great, and he's showing signs of improvement, and he's starting to get some form of use in his left arm now through all the therapy, and I understand it that he can actually get in and out of a car, and that he can walk with a cane, which that is phenomenal. That is a phenomenal improvement based on what I saw when I went to the hospital to see Mike, and based on what he's been through, and all the glory be to the God, and putting his hands on Mike and that doctor who did what he needed to do to help Mike. So that's it. All right, folks, that's all I got. Like I said, I'm sorry. It's been I can't even quit. I'm sorry I didn't get it out in time. It's been a rough week. I didn't even talk about it, so you don't want to hear my woes, but I'll tell you this. Y'all know it's been hot. Monday, my damn air conditioner went out, and I'm an air conditioning guy, meaning I've studied it. I got a degree in HVAC, and I actually worked in the business and in the industry. Our air conditioning system is less than 10 years old. We paid a lot of money for it. And we got a 10-year warranty, parts and labor. So we got a 10-year warranty, but in order to keep the warranty active, you got to pay whatever it is, $200-something every 6 months to have them come out and do what they call a service call. And believe me, when they come out, I'm out there like, you going to clean my damn coil? You going to, they do all that stuff. And so far, we've never had a major issue. We had a few little issues, but so long story short is in 8 years, I've probably invested somewhere between $3,800 to $4,000 to keep my warranty good. So I'm paying for the warranty is what I'm doing. So, all right. So 10 years, it's 8 years old, got 2 years left on the warranty. AC quits working Monday. Laura gets me. She goes, hey, I don't think the AC's working. Sure enough, I went outside. I checked things. I did some basic troubleshooting skills. I'm like, and on all cycled it. And with the new units today, they don't quick cycle. You disconnect the main power on a new unit today. It'll power down. It'll release all the pressure and not vent it out, but it'll release the pressure. It will equalize, high side and low side will equal quick. And then it'll reset itself, and it won't start for like 5 minutes. And then when it does start, it runs in what they call the startup mode, and then it'll kick into the main mode for, I think, another 5 or 10 minutes or whatever it is, because we have the Carrier Infinity. That's what we have. So I did all this stuff, and within an hour and a half, actually less than that, I came to the conclusion, one of two things. And because it's under warranty, I can't mess with it. So I just came to the conclusion it's either the run start capacitor for the condensing fan motor, or just the fan motor's bad. And I thought, So, and with today's capacitors, they're solid state. They're all wired into a board. They ain't like the old can capacitors. I can't put a amp meter on it and just see how many amps it's pulling when it tries to start. So I made the call. So this is Monday morning. So Monday morning I make the call, and I tell them, I say, hey man, my unit's out. You guys are just out here in June doing the service. Anyway, it ain't working, and you need to get out here. It's hot as blazing Jimmy's. And he goes, okay, well, the quickest we can get somebody out there is Tuesday morning. I'm thinking, boy, Monday night's going to be a long night. So I said, all right. So I called back, and we scheduled it so it would be Tuesday, which was the 22nd of July. Tuesday, 22nd of July, the technician would be out somewhere between 8 and 12. And really nice young man, and he don't get there about 2. But they do send you, they get a text message, hey, he's running behind on the previous call, and it's not like going to the doctor's office and doctor can get you in, get you out. You get out there on a call that you thought was going to be a 30-minute call. Now it's a 2-hour, service call. So I called back about an hour later. This is back on Monday when I called originally. So I called back about an hour later, and I said, hey, I'm going to be part of the solution. I'm going to be proactive. When I talk to folks, I'm not a pompous ass like I know it all, but I do share with them and say, hey, listen, I got a little bit of experience in this industry. I'm going to help you help me. When the technician comes tomorrow, be sure that he brings a capacitor and a fan motor for this particular unit. That will help us a lot. Okay, Mr. Daniels, I'll tell him. So when he comes on Tuesday, 2 hours late, but that's okay. I'm not, it's irrelevant. He gets out there, and God bless him, he's a young feller, and he appeared to be technically competent, and now I'm way past 40. So I'm sorry. Anyway, I forgot I was going to tell you all this to start with. So he appeared technically competent, and he was, in my opinion, he was doing the whole basic faulty isolation troubleshooting techniques. He was doing them backwards, and he fiddle-farted around. He did what I would have done, but he did what needed to be done, and went, and I was standing there. I said, fan motor didn't start. He goes, no. So rather than saying, okay, I know what's not working, start there and go backwards, he doesn't. He opens his iPad and his phone, and he's looking at service bulletins, and he's got this big panel off. And man, it's nothing like it was when I started in this business, but it's just massive, circuit boards, and everything's solid state. And that's when I was looking in there. And the only thing I recognized in there was a damn contactor. I guess damn solid state of contactor. But I recognized a contactor, and he checked the contactor, and I thought, okay, well, but the fan motor's over there. You should start over there and go backwards. But he's checking the contactor, which it's okay because that's quick. He didn't, but then he starts pulling off plugs, and he's reading all these different low voltage, 4.5 volts is supposed to signal to this, and that's supposed to go to that signal to that, and that's supposed to go to the signal to that. And he cycles it up, and he does it again, and the fan motor don't start again. I thought, damn, man, come on. And after about the third time, now he's already been here an hour, about the third time, I finally see him pulling what I call them hard wires, but I knew what he was doing. He pulled the wires, and I saw him get his meter. I looked down and I watched him. He was reading ohms, And I said, "You're reading the windings in the motor." He goes, "Yes, sir." I said, "Okay." And he read it, and sure enough, the windings is gone. So I said, "So the motor windings are bad?" He goes, "Yes, sir." Me as a troubleshooter, I would have started there. If you got a good motor, then it's upstream. But he started upstream and confirmed all these things, and it already been there an hour and a half. And then he said, "Well, the motor's bad." I'm like, I didn't say it, but inside I said, "Well, no shit, Sherlock." So anyway, all that said and done, I said, "Here's the good news. You got that motor on your truck." He said, "No, sir." I said, "You're kidding me." He goes, "No, sir." I said, "I called back after I made the original call on Monday, and I asked them to tell you, bring this motor." He showed me the work order thing on his iPad, and he goes, "Nobody ever told me that." I'm a little pissed. I'm pissed off. I didn't take anything out on him. I said, "That's unfortunate." I said, "So what are we looking at?" He said, "Well, I'm going to need to put it on order, and I'll put an emergency order in because you are a regular customer." And he said, "And when I order the fan motor, I'm going to order this entire circuit board because this one little thing that's supposed to be sending a signal at 3.5 to 4.5 volts DC, it's not. It's only sending 2.2 volt." That above my head, I said, "Hey, whatever, man. If that needs to be changed too, and this thing's 8 years old, you go right ahead and you change that." So I go inside and tell Laura, I said, "It's going to be another long day and another long night." He didn't bring the motor, and Laura lit off. She blew a gasket, and it takes a lot to get Laura ticked off. She blew a gasket. So I ended up having to call the company, and I said, "Hey, I need to speak to somebody like a manager." So I got a guy on the phone. I said, "Hey, listen, Hoss." I said, "Technician's great out here, blah, 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 blah." I said, "Didn't have AC Monday. It's now it's almost 4:30 Tuesday. We still ain't got AC." I said, "I called you guys and was trying to be proactive, and I gave some advice to bring the motor." I said, "But that never got sent down to him." He said, "Well, I'm sorry. And that's not something we normally do is, I guess, take advice from the customers on how to bring stuff and do stuff." And I humble enough, I said, "I get it." I said, "But man," the technician said, "he don't know when it's going to be here." He said, "Well, he shouldn't have told you that." I said, "Well, he was being honest. He didn't do anything wrong. He was being honest." I said, "So I need to talk to y'all about how damn quick we can get AC out here." So now this is late Tuesday, no AC. And he said, I'll expedite everything, and boom. They call back like an hour later, said, "We're so sorry, and they'll be out there now Wednesday." So they'll be out there the next day, Wednesday the 23rd. They'll be out there and between 12 and 6. Whew, and we'll go from there. I said, "Okay." So Wednesday. So now we're into day 3. 12 comes around, nothing happens, and no email, no text. 2:00, nothing. 2:30, I'm emailing, because you can actually call this company. This is a reputable company. Everybody knows them. So I email them, and I'm texting them like, "Hey, man, what's the ETA?" And matter of fact, on the phone, if you call, you can say, "What's the ETA of my service tech?" I get nothing, and then I get a phone call, and it's that dude. He said, "Mr. Daniels, I got bad news." I said, "Why am I not surprised?" He said, "They ordered the wrong part." I said, "So what are you telling me?" He said, "Well, he ain't going to be out there till Thursday." I said, anyway, I ain't going to tell you what I said, but I was very nice. I didn't cuss. I didn't take anything out on him, but I said, "Damn, man." I said, "That's unfortunate." I said, "So now we're going to go into day 4 because we went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So now we're going to be at Thursday with no AC." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, that is unfortunate." So they called back and said, "We'll give you another whole year free of service. So your spring and your fall service is not going to cost anything." We'll get out there as quick as we can. So he came finally. Sure enough, he brought the 2 things, got it all put in, and we got it going. And all the while that's going on, 2 full days, the house has got contractors in it. We're remodeling a bathroom. And you think that went smooth? Nope. So the whole fancy sliding glass door for the bathroom remodel is a total flop. And anyway. So now we've got a master bathroom that has a big whopping hole that you can't use the shower or anything that we just had put in because there ain't no door. So I said, well, why don't you run to Home Depot and buy a curtain rod or buy a shower curtain rod that you just tighten it up, and you gonna make it so I can use it. So they did that, and it could be a week before we get that fixed. So I don't know. All right, that's it. All right, God bless y'all. Mike Coker, I don't know where you are, brother. I'm looking around. I don't see you anywhere. But, yeah, let's get going, buddy. You got a lot to do today, I'm sure. Y'all be safe. Bicycle.